Sunny day today. Yeah, so we're going to talk about two things. Today's topic is about two things: the origin and nature of Freemasonry. If you don't understand the origin of Freemasonry, you can't understand the nature of Freemasonry. Once again, our topic for today is the origin and nature of Freemasonry. If you don't understand the origin of it, you can't understand the nature of it. So as we get into this particular conversation today, I know many people would like to believe that the origin of Freemasonry began with 1717, England, stonemasons. I know many of us would like to believe that Masonry began with those who began to construct edifices, buildings. That's what we are like to believe. That's the basic construct of what we understand regarding Freemasonry today, is the fact that Freemasonry begins with stonemasons working out of the galls. That is what was told to us. That is what was given to those who have not yet done their own research on the origin of Freemasonry. I'm talking about the origin right now. And when you begin to really do your own study into Freemasonry and where it originated from, then your mindset is going to actually change. You will no longer see the playfulness. You will no longer see the craziness that you see today in Freemasonry. You will have a better construct and understanding of the craft. You would take it more seriously when you understand the origin of Freemasonry. Because it has been corrupted, the origin and nature of Freemasonry has really been flipped upside down. Greetings, everybody who's about to come on. This conversation today is about the origin and the nature of Freemasonry. And I know some of you are like, the origin? 1717, got it, 1717. That's the origin. And I know some of you are saying the nature? Wow, to make good men better men. See, what I've learned, and I used to believe that. Oh man, I was that guy. I really believed that at one time until I began to collect books, began to read for myself, began to do a lot of things in this self journey we call Freemasonry, and it changed my whole thought pattern. It changed everything. It flipped everything upside down. So what I thought I knew because of what my old head said wasn't so. It wasn't necessarily true. Somebody changed the narrative and gave that to us, and we ran with it. Somebody changed that whole thing, and we took it, and we ran with it. But now, because of so many variety of books, because of so many other entities that are now at play, the whole thing has really changed. I mean, it has really changed. You can no longer think that the origin of Freemasonry is 1717. You can no way phantom or believe that. Now, what you can say is the organization itself and the structure that is here can be based upon 1717, if you want to believe that. I won't kick that down. Greetings, how's it going? Brother White, how's it going? Dempsey, how's it going? Brian, everybody, Grand Matron, greetings. So as we get into the origin of Freemasonry, everything that we read in every Masonic ritual tells you about a gentleman or a name of people, whether it be Hiram Abiff, be it King Solomon, be it any of those names that I've just named, Hiram Atai, any of those kings that I've just named, whether they lived or they did not live, The place for which this whole scene of Freemasonry takes place, the place is on the continent of Africa. Those are facts. The whole place for which this whole scene takes place is on the continent of Africa. That is a known fact. Good morning from Virginia. I appreciate you. Thank you. So as we look at the origin of Freemasonry, the nature is next. As we look at the origin of Freemasonry, you must take into account that it was here long before this construct as we know it today. The ideal is we don't know the formation for which it was part of. Now, if you have any books in your library, it would take you far back as in the construction of the pyramids. It would take you into the various chambers in the pyramid. It would do a whole lot for you. See, this thing we call Freemasonry is a lot deeper than what we actually see today. It's three-dimensional. It's definitely three-dimensional, and some of you will catch that on the way home, but Freemasonry is three-dimensional. You have this outward appearance of people dressed in these various costumes or outfits, as some would like to call them. But you have to realize, where did all of this originate from? This dress that we have, the collars and the aprons, where did it originate from? It had to come from somewhere. And I would add, in my own personal readings, in my own personal research, these dress codes that we have, these symbols that we use, I'm not going to say all of us can agree, but most of us can agree that you can find these same symbols on the continent of Africa. In various parts, you can find these same symbols. That is why it is very important to understand that some of the Masonic temples that you may go into have a very African distinction about them. If you are in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, if you are in Philadelphia and you go to the Grand Lodge of Philly, mainstream, they have a room, a lodge there. When you walk into the temple, it's all Afrocentric. It's everything African. If you are in Philly and you have been there, I'm quite sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. So how is it that we are so gung-ho about saying the origin of Freemasonry is a European thing, when all we have in our Masonic ritual is pointed to the continent of Africa, and all of its symbols are found on this continent. As far as the trial, the level, the plumb, the all-seeing eye, we all can say this is where those symbols originated from. Some can agree to disagree, but based upon my own research, now, if you want to charm in and give me something different, we can do that. But we're talking about the origin of Freemasonry. And then as you move and you see what the origin is, we're going to take a look at its nature. What is the nature of Freemasonry? I know many of us have heard that Masonry is supposed to take a good man and make him a better man. Man being the nature. Hear me clearly. Man being the nature of Freemasonry. So when you begin to go back and construct and say, okay, so you're saying that the origin is from the continent, the largest land mass on this planet. Yes, I'm saying that. I'm saying exactly that. I'm saying that the continent of Africa holds the largest land mass on this planet, and it is truly where the origin of Freemasonry, for which we practice, originated from. The system that we practice today is different than what was done then, because if you know anything about organizations, those that predates Freemasonry, as in the Essenes, one in particular was an organization that dealt in magic. They dealt in hidden mysteries and parables. They dealt in a lot of the things that we would consider taboo. That's what the Essenes did. And your favorite person, Christ, was a part of the Essenes. Just like John the Baptist had his own disciples, Christ had his own disciples. And they both dabbled in what we would call mysteries and parables and understanding that which was written. They did that. So as you begin to break that whole thing down, you get the origin of Freemasonry. You get that. Now let's bounce that off and go into the nature of Freemasonry. The nature of Freemasonry. Look at this thing. As I said before, as you begin to break it down, you will know that an origin leads to a nature, because the nature tells you about the principles of the thing that you are a part of and what it's supposed to be all about. So I'm going to give you the basic principle that's been passed down, and I'm going to give you another principle to that predates that principle. The principle that has been passed down is that Freemasonry helps a good man to become a better man. We all can agree to disagree, but that's the thing we like to say. For those newbies who are coming in, they told you that Freemasonry helps a good man to become a better man. We do this and we do that. We're involved with the community. We give money to the have-nots, and we have these programs and that programs, which is true. But what predates that is that Masonry was a system within its own confines that assisted and aided those in the mysteries of life. So when you ran into issues in life, Freemasonry was a guide. It wasn't known as Freemasonry then. It wasn't known as that. It was a totally different system. The system for which we know today is a very watered down system. The terms have been changed. If you got old rituals, you can go back and see that a lot has been changed. At one time we had Solomon and Moses and Noah that was in these rituals. And now the new standard rituals you get don't mention Moses. It doesn't really mention Noah. It doesn't mention Adams. Those things have been changed. You have to go back to those rituals that predates the ones that we're using today, whether it be your own Masonic ritual, whether it be a Leicester's, or whether it be a Duncan's, or whether it be any of those early 1900s rituals. You have to go back, because there are some rituals that predates that gives you another perspective on the nature of Freemasonry. See, the nature of Freemasonry in its essence is supposed to illuminate your mind. That is the nature of Freemasonry. This is why when you look at the Essenes and those who gathered around the Essenes, and you look at John the Baptist and his crew, and when you look at Christ and his crew, how they moved amongst the people, and they was pretty much protected amongst the people because they held certain secrets close to them. Everybody couldn't be a disciple. No, everybody couldn't be a disciple. Everybody couldn't be a part of the Essenes because they dressed differently. If you look at Joseph, who was the father of Christ upon this earth, he was a carpenter. He was a carpenter. If you look at any of those individuals who were part of these groups or society of that time and day, they had special trades, unlike other people. And they was held high in their community. You know, they had a way of making their wages. So when you look at what we call today Freemasonry, it's totally different in the origin. It's totally different in the nature now, because with what's happening now in Freemasonry, it's totally upside down. Now you got people who live alternate lifestyles in Freemasonry. Freemasonry is all about men, period. And I say men, period, because with that you will find that there was a feminine side to Masonry also. That's going to be for another show. Because when you get into the mystery schools, as someone like to call them, or the illuminating arts of Freemasonry, as someone like to call them, there are so many different names that people call them till they all change. And we have today, we call it Freemasonry. But that is so watered down until you can't really put your fingers on it, because water slips through your hands. There's nothing tangible that you can say, boom, I got it. But when you go back and look in old Masonic rituals, it gives you a very interesting concept. It changes the whole dynamics, and it did it for me. And this is why Masonry to me is special. It is not meant for everybody. Masonry is not meant for everybody to come into it. It is not. It's not. It's really, really not. The oaths and obligations and things that we do is not meant for everybody. You can't just bring everybody into what we call today the craft. You can't do it. Because when they come in, and if you're really on your square, if you're really on your points, they're going to see it totally different. They're gonna mess it up, man. And you can see that happening now. You know, they're bringing in, I mean, anytime you have this sexual orientation of men sleeping with men or women sleeping with women or any of that coming into Freemasonry, it is now becoming corrupt. Corrupt in the principles of nature. That's what I'm going. It's becoming corrupt in the principles of nature. What you do outside of the confines of the organization is your business. However, that should not spill over into the organization itself, because wherever you go, whatever you do, you represent that organization by whatever name you choose to call it. And this is what's happening with a lot of us. We tend to forget. If you're a Muslim and that's what you practice, you represent Islam wherever you go. If you are a Christian, no matter where you go, you represent Christianity, period. If you practice Freemasonry, regardless of jurisdiction or Grand Lodges, wherever you go, you represent Freemasonry. It's like that across the board in any organization. But what we have done within the confines of Freemasonry, we have flipped that. We have totally thrown out the principles and the nature of Freemasonry. We've totally disregarded it. We have. We do so much now to people be wondering, what is that? The illuminating light that once followed those who were Masons are really no longer following us. The light is beginning to be very, very dim. The voice that Freemasons had at one time is becoming a whisper. And what we have done, we have gave our moral, we have turned over our moral values of Freemasonry, and it has become corrupted. Oh no, that's real talk. We have totally turned over our moral values, and they have become corrupted. So if a person likes to go out and party all night and get drunk, and he comes into Freemasonry, he see you doing it, what's that look like? He could have stayed outside of Freemasonry and did that. Now, if a brother comes into the lodge and he see that you are about your business and you serious about being the example, then he's eventually going to change. See, if you continue to pour clean water into a dirty glass, it's going to eventually become clean. Simple as that. If you set a dirty glass beside a clean glass, which one you going to drink? So in Freemasonry, when a brother enters the lodge, and he's initiated, passed, and raised. Your example to him is to be the best person you can be. Set the best example that you can set, showing him what it is to be a Mason, the nature of a man. We got it all flipped out now. Everybody running into it. Everybody and their grandmama is in it. You know. Yeah, I know that there are some women who are Freemasons. And I have no crumbs with it. I have no crumbs with a woman being a Freemason. Some of you, oh, brother, I get it. I get it. But as I said, there's a feminine side to this thing. Oh, it took me some time to get there. I'm telling you the truth, bro. It took me a minute to get there, to actually be where I'm at now. It took me a minute. I had to travel and see some things for myself in order to have a better understanding of why I am at the place I am right now in this journey. It took me a minute, and I'll tell anybody, you keep traveling in Freemasonry, you're going to see some things. You're going to have to make some choices. And that's real. I'm talking about some real choices. Do I really want to be a part of this organization? You're going to have to question that. You are. And what I've done for myself is that in my travels and learning and watching and sitting back and watching, I was able to say, okay, I like this. I like this because it makes me want to be the best person I can be because I'm here to set an example. See, you know, within the confines of your religion, it doesn't challenge you to be the best person you can be. It tells you you should, but it doesn't challenge you because when you come across someone else, they doing the same thing you're doing. That's true. But it's not supposed to be that way. And we're learning now that a whole lot of ministers, a whole lot of this, a whole lot of that, they're doing some crazy stuff. So a lot of people have walked away from religion. Hear what I said? The people have walked away from religion. They didn't walk away from God. They walked away from religion. This is why in Freemasonry, it regards no man for his religious belief, because you're supposed to take your faith, that you take your obligation on. That book, the ruler and guide of your life, is supposed to be able to help and shape you to be the best person you can be. And it teaches you some valuable lessons. It teaches you how to live in this world, in this body. That's what it does. But when you don't take and apply those teachings that you took that obligation on, it's for with naught. Being raised perpendicular as an upright master mason, standing high in the community. Thus, masonry take good men and make them better men. Okay, Fred, I don't disagree with that. I can add to that and say Freemasonry teaches a good man how to be a Mason. I can add to it. Freemasonry teaches a good man how to be a Mason because he's already a good man. This is why you brought him in. See, this is why this person is already a Mason, because someone seen something in him and said, damn, you'll make a good Mason. But why him? Why would he make a good Mason? Is it because of his contributions? Is it because of the money? What is it about that person that he is chosen and you say that he will make a good Mason? This is what you got to really look at. And what I found is that I look at the whole person. They're good, they're bad, and they're ugly, because we all got those three attributes: the good, the bad, and the ugly. We all got them. So if his goodness outweigh his badness, and he continue to form and shape those other two attributes, becoming more patient, okay, becoming more cautious, becoming more understanding. If he's already working on that, and as he enters into Freemasonry, and he sees others who are doing the same thing, and taking those symbolically working tools to shape and to form, taking those to a higher level and understand the illuminating thought behind them, boom, he's on the right path. He is on the right path. But however, there are some that come through the west gate, which is not protected. And because someone has vouched for them, they come in and they corrupt the very thing you're trying to build. The very thing you're trying to build, that person corrupts it. He puts another virus into play. And the system that you have built is now a corrupt system. That's what happens with that. Hold on just a second. So as we continue, sorry for that pause. So as we continue, we looked at and we began to look at the origin and the nature. We can actually see what Masonry is supposed to be all about. And what we're doing today is not what Masonry is really all about. It is not. You know, you hear that Masonry, once upon a time, there you go. We hear that Masonry, once upon a time, took care of the elders and the widows and orphans. We know that some organizations do have nursing homes for the widows. We do know that there are some organizations, Freemasons, Grand Lodges have things that are set up for that. However, when you look at the whole of Masonry, those who fall through the cracks, those you know that brother passed away and his wife is suffering. She needs some assistance. Her house needs painting. You turn a blind eye. You don't go back and say, sister, let me get you some groceries. Let me do this for you. I'm talking about those who fall through the crack. I'm not talking about your organization has the hospital. I'm not talking about your organization has the nursing home. I'm talking about for those of you who know that these individual widows are living. The orphans are living. How often do you go back and proceed and do what you are called to do? That's all I'm saying. And this is what you got to think about when you think about the origin and nature of Freemasonry. We miss so much in regards to that. We really, really do. We miss so much regarding the origin and nature of Freemasonry until we have just tossed it aside and it's become such a party house, such a let's go have a drink or something. I am never saying that you shouldn't fellowship or socialize. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you're supposed to take Masonry seriously. I'm saying that you're supposed to implement those things within your Grand Lodge that's going to really benefit those who come through those doors as men. Okay? And help them to grow. You know, there's nothing like an elder's talking to a young brother coming in a lodge. Nothing like it. He can break down those things to that brother and enlighten him and be the example of how one should carry himself. There's nothing like it. If you don't have a person in your lodge that you don't want to emulate, you're in the wrong lodge. If there's nobody in your lodge that you can say, you know what, shit, that guy, it's him. It's him. I'm going to be myself, but I want to take some of those attributes that he have. I want to take some of the essence that that brother have and add them to my life. That's what I want to do. If there's nobody in your lodge or your jurisdiction or that you know that you can do that, nah, you're in the wrong spot. That goes for a sister too. If there's nobody in your chapter or grand chapter that you can say, her, that one right there, yeah, she represents everything an Eastern Star. She got it all. That's where I'm at. And that's how I do it. Fraternal greetings to everybody who's on. And so this is where I'm at. And I'm hoping somehow, some way along this journey that you will meet that person in your life journey that you say, yeah, it's because of you, bro. It's because of you, sister. I'm the better Mason. I'm the better Eastern Star. It's because I understand the origin and nature of it. When you are able to understand the origin and nature of a thing, it makes it so much better. It makes it so much better. What's going on, Brother Edwards? Appreciate you. Williams, what's going on? Everybody who's coming in, I appreciate you tuning in. I'm about to log off, though. It's been a minute. This is just something short I want to do today because I got to thinking about the origin nature of Freemasonry and how do we get where we're at today. And a lot of people want to just, you know, I don't know. I don't. The field of masonry is kind of, that light is kind of dim. It is my hope in my journey that my light will never go dim, that I will continue to be a beacon. I will continue to grow. You will continue to see me grow. You know, if you haven't seen me grown at all, if you haven't seen me grow in this thing, you ain't been around me. Grand Matron, if they haven't seen me grow, they ain't been around me. We've come a long way. So as I close out right now, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to this channel as we try to help you along this journey, as we try to illuminate you to be more actively involved in your Grand Lodge, your lodge. That's all I'm saying. I don't care about your jurisdiction or your Grand Lodge. I want you to be more active. I want you to be the example of what a Mason should be. I want you to be the example of what a sister of the Order of the Eastern Star should be, because somebody's watching you. I'm out. Enjoy your day. I hope that you've gotten something out of this. Peace and be well. Remember this, as always, I'm not your study guide, but I am here to help you study. Stay out the bushes and keep your light on. I'm out.